Hey everybody, I'm here on Skid Row and I'm here with John Kelly.
Right.
And John Kelly works at the LA Mission.
Yeah, I'm the outreach coordinator here at the Los Angeles Mission and alumni of the Los Angeles Mission. Yeah.
So, as many of you know, I've started focusing on Skid Row a little bit, telling some of the stories here, and on the site invisiblepeople.tv you'll see several that were filmed right here in this courtyard.
Yeah, you've done a tremendous job. I've seen a lot of them, and I'm surprised. It's amazing how somebody can see themselves on TV or in film, and they can even lift their own self-esteem. They realize, hey, I'm articulate there, you know, so it's amazing.
And last time I was down here, we didn't have enough time. We started talking about Skid Row. Obviously, I don't think there's any expert in homelessness and Skid Row in areas, but John probably is pretty close.
Not too far off. Let's just say I've had both lifestyles.
So, this is a very colorful community. Tell me about Skid Row.
Well, Skid Row itself, you know, it started in near the Depression, and a lot of families actually migrated out here from the Midwest because of the job situation. Hughes Aircraft and a lot of other companies had just moved to Southern California, and money was tight, so people really came out here. But in those days, you got to realize when they came out, they brought the whole family. It was a family movement. It wasn't just single men. It was a family movement. And a lot of them did come out here, so the missionaries came out to make sure they had soup and all that good stuff. So it was kind of like a tight-knit family when it first started. And the concept was different. The concept being if you got the man off the feet, he got the family off the feet. Of course, a lot has changed since then. So finally, when a lot of people did get out of the area, back to work and so forth, it left a small number of people and actually kind of developed a reputation for drunks. A lot of AA meetings probably originated right here on Skid Row. At one time, if you see all these stores out here, every store here had a liquor license.
I've gone to an AA meeting in the park over there, where it's the only one where they give cigarettes.
Right.
Most they give coffee. So I've been down here getting services.
Yeah, well, cigarettes and socks are a big commodity down here. You know?
Thanks to Haynes, we just hooked them up with socks, and we'll continue to do so.
Yeah. So as the time went on, the community changed. And it changed basically because of, territorial reasons. The city wanted more property. They felt, and they moved us further down in this area. But also the drug changed. And I think in the early 80s, cocaine hit the community, hit Los Angeles, hit the nation extremely hard. And the thing about a person when they are, you know, on having a rough time of it, they're easily or can be more influenced in using drugs or alcohol to try to get the problem or get through it. So we took up a new, younger population of homeless people. And I guess you got to understand when we say homeless, what type of homeless situation. Everybody doesn't just have that homelessness. Like today, for the first time, as long as I've been down here, we're dealing with a new kind of population of homelessness, and that is strictly people who've lost a job. Sometimes you can only be 2 paychecks away from ending up in an area like this, and so we're kind of readjusting because we're used to the long-term homeless, and people say chronically homeless, but now we've been forced, which is a good thing too, to prepare for people who are facing homelessness for the first time. Yeah.
So now you've seen it all, obviously, and you have a very colorful community. And we were just telling my Alfred, my coworker, who's doing this great job holding the camera right now, how the community and the missions and the different work together.
Oh, well, here at the Los Angeles Mission, we like to consider ourselves a mission without walls. I think people, when you say the word mission, they get the idea of people who are like bums or what, or getting a free meal. But actually, missions have become the center part of what we have down here on Skid Row because we're so diverse. When they needed a substance abuse a system in place here, we were one of the first ones to get it open. Also, we were the first one to be able to manage people who had substance abuse problems, but also mental illness problems, social issues, at what we call an affordable rate, which is free. So, and that's hard to do.
Right.
So we made ourselves not just a mission downtown. We made ourselves a vital part of this community, because this is the community. Right. Sometimes because your income is at a low pace, don't mean it's always going to change. or if you have certain mental illnesses, don't mean you're ever going to be cured from that particular mental disease. But that doesn't give you a right not to have freedom, not to walk around. And that's what I like about this community. As you can see someone walking down the street with a shopping basket and stuff. And if they were in anybody else's community, they would feel embarrassed, or people would be honking the horn on them. In some places, you actually be arrested.
Right, right. Exactly. One thing I've learned about the homeless population, or in areas like this, there's a lot more tolerance for people with mental challenges and drug addictions and maybe even physical disabilities, where in middle class or malls or different places they wouldn't even be allowed. They'd be shut.
Well, actually it's almost self-imposed, because people who suffer from mental illnesses, they actually are embarrassed, not for themselves but of the family that they're in. They feel like their illness, or sometimes we used to call it as a weakness. So it's almost like you're bringing shame upon your family. So that really more so, a lot of people isolate themselves down here to just protect their own family. And because if you're in addiction, of course, and if you got a person that's living in your household, a son, a mother, or whatever the situation may be, that's addicted to crack, sometimes it's best that person do leave the house, because by the time they go into recovery and maybe years later when they gotten themselves back together, it's so much animosity in between the family that they're never going to be accepted back in there. So a lot of times, a lot of people here, because they do love their families and they don't want to impose, particularly if you come from a low income type family, they can't afford psychiatrists, they can't afford the special needs to take care of you. So just out of respect for them, sometimes you just walk away.
Now, there's been a change recently. I don't know how recently, but there's a lot of SROs being built, new SROs. And then have you seen an impact of people actually getting off, literally sleeping on cardboard, to getting into housing?
Oh yeah, well, the cardboard went out a while ago, and it went out because of financial reasons. When I first came down here, you could make a cardboard condominium. You could, really make up a duplex out here on the street, but then they started recycling the cardboard, right? So you couldn't even find cardboard. So that's what the point, they end up buying just whole tents. Now you're lucky somebody don't pick your tent up and walk away. But the SRO housing, or single room occupants, or skid row housing trusts, they're actually supported housing. We realized very early in the ball game that you just can't take a person off the street, stick him in a room, and say he's not homeless. In fact, one of the key things about dealing with homeless people who have mental challenges is that when first time you walk up to them, I don't care if they're sleeping on the ground and stuff, and you ask, can you assist them, they assume your idea of assisting them is locking them up in an institution. And people don't know, sometimes people with mental illness can't be confined in a small area. So the real reason, and then the real reason that a lot of people still sleep on the street out here on Skid Row, well, first of all, it's California, the weather, obviously, but second, we don't have a law against it. I mean, if you go to Santa Monica or some of these other cities, they have strict laws about sleeping on sidewalks, or how many missions can be in a combined area. And what I don't think people realize, that Skid Row community is made up of, what, 99% of people that wasn't born here.
They come here.
They come here. Well, let's say if you're dealing with HIV, and you contracted HIV, and maybe it could be anywhere, Minnesota, Texas, and they don't have the financial impact that you could have here, because here, if you are HIV positive, we have ways that, or organizations that will pay for your complete medication. Okay, so you might not have that insurance that can cover that. So you actually end up coming down here for affordability. And that's what we mean by community, because if your income is at a point where even $60 a month is challenging for your rent, and you find something decent like a brand new SRO housing, when you got your, this is the first time some people have actually been in anything new. And I've seen people actually stop using drugs. Just the fact that they had their own privacy and a little dignity brought back to them.
Same here.
Yeah, and so this means a lot, because you got to realize we only had transitional living here before. What does that mean? Well, you shared a bathroom with half the people in the hotel or the apartment. You share the kitchen. And when you having mental illnesses, you know, just going into a bathroom or having to wait for somebody else can come out, you may defecate in your room, the sink, or whatever. So it changes the perspective a lot. Also, supportive housing means you have support. You have social workers, case workers in the building. Some of them have clinics in the building. So it's taken on a lot deeper, more perspective of the individual. You know, it takes a whole community to help someone that's suffering from mental illness. And then the biggest thing you got to realize, people don't understand, we don't grow cocaine down here. We don't import our own liquor down here. People prey off homeless people all the time.
And it's not just drug addicts. Melanie, who you introduced me to, came here. She's a woman, economic crisis, family crisis, sober, and you were able to help her.
Right.
So, I mean, it's, and you have a lot of seniors and low income. And
there you go.
You know, it's a whole community. I could talk to you all day. But the other night I'm driving down Los Angeles here, and I'm seeing, like you say, you know, the little shopping cart condominiums being set up all over, and it seems like it's growing. What can we do? What can the people watching this do? How do we fight homelessness?
We have to fight it, and we have to attack it as what it is. If we need to deal with a person because of their mental illness, we need to deal with that. But we also have to address the addiction. In many ways, here on Skid Row, sane or not, I mean, if the addiction is cut out, then the chances of you having your own place to live or something becomes very high. If a person tells you they've been homeless for, what, 10, 12 years, it's addiction. In and out of penitentiary. We have what we call career addiction, which can last over 27 years. So now you got one category. People like to put homeless people in one category. Does this person have severe mental illness? Does this person have physical handicaps? You combine that, but then you have this population here that are having mental illnesses that is brought on by the drugs. Because you can't use drugs for 10 years without going through some mental issues or associated with the drugs. So now here we are, we got this money, and they say, okay, this money is for the homeless. If we could just use that money for the homeless, a lot of things would happen. But now you got to forget the addiction there. So if most, like say if you build a new hotel, you make the rent affordable, but the person you move in is addicted. Okay, and if the person's addicted and he has mental illness, chances are they're not going to stay there long.
So you need the services.
There you go, you need the services. So one of the things that I think that would help a lot is when we identify what kind of homelessness is this. Let's say a person is homeless only a few months. He comes and he's looking for help. The first thing I'm going to say is, how long you been homeless? Oh, I've been homeless maybe 3 or 4 months. Well, you don't qualify. We're looking for chronically homeless. Or you don't have no mental illness, so we don't have anything to cover you. If you come downtown and you're in your right mind, you'll go crazy because there's no facilities for you. Bottom line. You know, if a person come up here and say, well, you know, I lost this, I've been sleeping on the street, okay, no problem, I got you. Somebody come up and say, you know, I lost a job and I'm looking for that break, and, you know, get off my feet. I'm, well, I don't, you know, I'm just, you know, so we got to identify, like you say, economically. Is this a crisis due to economics? Then we need to get you back in a situation where you can go to school, help you be able to stay in an environment that you can find a job and get back in the track. And like I said, we got to stop the victimization. You know, you take a community like this, I've seen some crazy stuff. They have what they call the electric wheelchairs, you know, the nice portable wheelchairs. You just push the button and zoom.
Liquor wheelchairs? I never heard of it.
Oh, electric. Oh, electric wheelchairs, you know, and they're very popular. You see them on the commercials. Medicare and Medi-Cal, if you have that, you can actually get one of these wheelchairs. And if you're handicapped and you're trying to get around, this chair is perfect, right? People will come down here, find out if people got Medicare and Medi-Cal, give you $100 to order this chair. When the chair gets to you, give you another $100 to purchase it from you. And they sell it for $4,000 or $5,000, and for the rest, you know, you are around here rolling.
So there's a lot of people gaming and preying off
people dropping off people because their insurance ran out. Now you see them standing out there in a hospital gown. You know, you got to realize if people would just would eliminate the preying. I mean, it ain't hard to sell a mentally challenged person crack. You know, you can intimidate them into buying it. So,
Wow.
you know, and there's just so many scams. And these scams aren't made here. We don't grow cocaine in this village.
Right, right. So now, have the police been had any impact in that?
Tolerant, but it's very difficult because if the impact will come, where does it come? A dope dealer will give a homeless person a dope sack to work. Now the homeless person goes to jail. In many cases,
right.
You know, what does a homeless person got to lose?
Right.
You know, but now you put pretty much a homeless person into the prison system.
Right.
And you may not get the same kind of person back.
Right. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I could talk to you all day, but I know you're busy. And I'm grateful you allow me to come down and interview people.
Anytime.
And I think the world of you and what you're doing, and we'll keep hooking you up with
No
songs.
problem. You know, Pastor Tony in there, he's the one to do the homeless karaoke too.
Oh man, on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't met him yet, but I've been at karaoke. That's one thing. We'll go there during and feature that one night. So.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.